Hello, wonderful classmates and professor. Sorry to be joining you from Zoom, but I guess happy that I can be participating. I'm talking about women and girls in social media, and including girls um, because obviously when girls are influenced, they're becoming women, and so they obviously have social media has a huge impact on girls, which has a huge impact on women. Okay, so. First, I wanted to talk about social media and women's beauty standards. And then I have this little link right here and I have it opened up so many times on my laptop, that has a little graph that shows um, what the gender discrepancy looks like when it comes to social media usage. Facebook, 17% more women use Facebook, uh, 15% more women use Instagram, and 15% more women use TikTok. And those percentages don't look so high, but then when you look at ages 18 and 19 on average, you see higher averages, right? So 78, 67. So younger people are using it more, or the future generations, and then women are using it more. So, um, right. So for beauty standards, their Instagram, it's showing you all these images. People are choosing what images that they're putting on there, and they want to put their best foot forward as human nature. And so there's all of these unrealistic expectations of what one's supposed to look like, because of the selective nature of Instagram, because you're seeing all this imagery, and women are consuming more of it. They're on social media more. They also are taught that a lot of their value rides on how they appear physically, right? Um, so when they see celebrities with acrylic nails, with made up faces, with Botox, like all these things that cost so much money, and they see and people have these airbrushed faces, that can be really unhealthy. Um, so some studies that I looked at said that Instagram can continue to reinforce and reproduce existing hegemonic notions of gender. Incredibly narrow conceptions of attractiveness, sexiness, and idealized femininity can reemerge on social networking sites, and that exposure to the media's portrayal of the ideal physique is positively associated with body dissatisfaction and eating disorder symptoms, right? Um, so not only are women wasting resources such as time, money, even their confidence on these standards, but they also are getting these horrible side effects like dissatisfaction, body dissatisfaction, and eating disorders, as well as anxiety, depression, like everything, right? So a big reason of why those beauty standards exist, why the beauty standards exist. Well, partly it's because men control the beauty industry and they're pumping out those beauty standards so that they can sell more product, but also because of these gender norms, right? So as you can see even in this graphic right here, women have these domestic images, the heels, the scissors, right? And then men have more of these kind of, like weightlifting, power, um, the cars. So women are conditioned so that they feel like their physical appearance is almost what defines them, or what they're valued by, um, especially by men. So they're trained to this domestic role, um, and then imagery that you see on social media that people are seeing every day for hours at a time, are further conditioning people to be like that. So I found that, well, in a different study, I found that social media has an impact, on personal attitudes towards gender roles. The more intensively young people use Instagram, YouTube, etc., the more conventional and stereotypical they think about the allocation of roles between men and women, right? So more and more through social media, the gender norms are being polarized, right? They're being split apart. In a lot of ways, it can be the opposite. So that is happening, but simultaneously, you have a potential for positive change in social media. So there's platforms, for example, the Body Positive, which isn't necessarily huge yet, but it's a nonprofit and just an example of these different places where people can go to find this positive change. Because as you're seeing all this imagery that's influencing you, it can be bad or it can be good, right? And social media has certainly created a lot of sensitivity to these different issues and a lot of awareness that could be helping people. And then also there's all this imagery that's doing the opposite. So it's got to be acknowledged that there is potential for change through social media, right? So that's all I have. I did You can end the video now if there's no time. I was gonna talk about my extra credit from a few weeks ago because I never got the chance to discuss that in class. But yeah, so keep the video rolling if there's time for that, but if not, I'm good. And good luck with finals week, everybody, and miss you already. Okay, so moving on to the extra credit. The extra credit was looking at a report, the AAUW report on the gender pay gap. The main finding was that, well, the main finding that a lot of the other research was based off of, or it was like a call to action, I suppose, is that women in the workforce, or people making, or people working full time, out of the people working full time, women are making 80% of what men are making, which is, drastic. Uh, and so the article talks kind of about this sort of snowball effect where when women make less money, they have a harder time paying off student loans, they have a harder time paying off debt, and they can't retire as early. So there's these financial ramifications that come with making less money. And when that happens, a sort of power dynamic can develop within relationships in between the genders, where because men are making more money, because they're able to pay off these other things and be more financially successful faster, all of a sudden they become the main provider, and it seems like they can develop this kind of financial authority within a relationship. Um, it also talks a lot about intersectionality. Uh, and this statistic kind of speaks for itself, but it's Hispanic women make 53% of what white men make in America. Um, and that statistic kind of simply highlights that resources are not being allocated equally, right? Or not even equally, but equitably. Because if a group is being if a group is making half of what a different group is making, there's obviously um, some unjust things going on within the government. And obviously, um, maybe, you know, Hispanic women could be coming from places with less privilege, so they're coming over with less privilege, less resources. Um, but ideally, we're being welcoming and helping them get on their feet to a place where they could at least get closer, right, to that different wage. Um, I did want to acknowledge that I'm not sure if this article is uh, if it's talking about um, what I understood is that the 80% is just across all positions. It's not within one. Like it's not saying that a male nurse makes or a female nurse makes 80% of what a male nurse makes, like in the same job facility or whatever. I think that there is a discrepancy there, but I don't know. I don't think that this 80% is what that's referring to. So finally, I just wanted to ask a few questions. That was part of the extra credit assignment. But the AAUW, sorry, blames the gap largely on American gender roles. Do you also feel that these norms have a large impact on the gap? Um, and then what are some ideas for large scale solutions to help eliminate women's domestic roles, polarizing gender roles in America that hold this gap in place? Uh, and I know we've answered the questions kind of on like more of an individual scale, like, oh, we'll talk to the people around us about how deconstructing gender norms could be helpful, or like call them out for kind of stereotyping behaviors. But I think, I mean, obviously, in this class, we've learned the negative effects that these stereotypes and norms can have, and so hopefully we're all going to be working personally to help change that in our little ways, but um, which obviously have a difference. But I think it's important to start thinking a little bit bigger so we can kind of generate ideas. And so yeah, I just wanted people to think big, things like education, policy, censorship, etc. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Okay. How long was that?